I am Alex. I am a female lawyer in New York City. I had built a reputation as a force to be reckoned with in the city's legal circles. My law firm, Thompson & Associates, was thriving, and I had a loyal client base that appreciated my tireless work ethic and unwavering commitment to justice. My life took a dramatic turn when a distraught father walked into my office, his eyes filled with tears and his voice shaking with rage. He clutched a photograph of his beautiful 18-year-old daughter, Sophia, a talented art student whose bright smile and sparkling eyes seemed to leap off the page. But the father's anguish was palpable, and I knew that something was terribly wrong. He hesitated, struggling to find the words, before finally blurting out the devastating truth. Sophia had been brutally raped, and he needed my help to bring the perpetrator to justice. I nodded resolutely, my heart going out to the distraught father. "I'll take the case," I promised, my voice firm and determined. "I'll do everything in my power to ensure that justice is served." The father's eyes welled up with tears as he handed me the photograph of Sophia. I took it, feeling a surge of determination and anger. I couldn't bear the thought of anyone hurting this beautiful, talented young woman. As the father left my office, I immediately began making calls, assembling a team of experts to help me build a strong case. I spoke with detectives, forensic specialists, and other lawyers, gathering every shred of evidence I could find. But as I delved deeper into the case, I began to realize that something wasn't quite right. I started by interviewing Sophia, gently coaxing her to recount the traumatic events of that terrible night. She spoke in a barely audible whisper, her eyes downcast as she described the party, the drinks, and the faceless figure who had attacked her. Next, I visited the crime scene, a deserted alleyway behind a popular nightclub. The police had collected physical evidence, but I wanted to see the location for myself, to get a feel for the layout and the potential escape routes. I spoke with witnesses, too, including Sophia's friends who had been at the party. They seemed shaken and genuinely concerned for Sophia's well-being, but I noticed inconsistencies in their stories. It was as if they were hiding something, but I couldn't quite put my finger on what it was. As I gathered more evidence, a timeline of the events began to emerge. But there were still gaps, and I knew I needed to dig deeper to uncover the truth. I decided to pay a visit to the nightclub's management office, hoping to review their security footage. After some persuasion, the manager handed over the tapes, and I spent hours scanning through the grainy images. As I fast-forwarded through the footage, I noticed something odd. A figure, partially obscured by a pillar, seemed to be lurking near the alleyway entrance around the time of the attack. I rewound the tape, studying the figure more closely. Although the image was fuzzy, I could make out a distinctive tattoo on the figure's hand. It looked like a snake coiled around the wrist. I wondered if this could be our perpetrator. Just then, my phone buzzed with an incoming text from an unknown number.
"The message sent are chill down my spine. Drop the case, Alex. You're getting close to the meeting you don't want to know."
I frowned, feeling a surge of determination. Who was behind this threatening message? And what were they trying to hide? I decided to ignore the warning and press on with the investigation. Next, I paid a visit to the local tattoo parlors, hoping to find someone who recognized the snake tattoo. After showing the image to several artists, I finally got a hit. A tattoo artist at a small parlor on the outskirts of town recognized the design. "Yeah, I've seen that tattoo before," he said, his voice low and serious. "It's the mark of the Red Vipers, a local gang with a reputation for violence." My instincts told me that this was a crucial lead. I thanked the artist and left the parlor, my mind racing with possibilities. I decided to dig deeper into the Red Vipers gang, hoping to uncover a connection to Sophia's case. I spent hours researching the gang's history, members, and activities. As I delved deeper, I discovered that the Red Vipers were involved in various criminal enterprises, from extortion to human trafficking. They were a ruthless and well-organized gang, with a network of loyal members and associates. I managed to identify a few key members of the gang, including a notorious leader named Victor, the Bull Martinez. I found an address linked to Martinez and decided to pay him a visit. As I approached the rundown warehouse on the outskirts of town, I felt a sense of trepidation. What would I find inside? Just as I was about to enter the warehouse, my phone buzzed with another text message.
"My heart sank as I read the words. Turn back now, Alex. You're playing with fire.
Martinez is not a man to be trifled with. And how did they know I was about to confront Martinez?
I hesitated for a moment, wondering if I should take the warning.
But something inside me refused to back down. I took a deep breath and stepped inside the warehouse. As I entered the dimly lit building, I called out, "Victor Martinez?
I need to speak with you."
The only response was the creaking of old wooden beams and the rustling of unknown creatures in the shadows. I stood still, my eyes adjusting to the dim light. The air was thick with the smell of decay and rot.
I called out again, "Victor Martinez?
I know you're in here." Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows. He was a towering man with a thick beard and a menacing scar above his left eyebrow. He regarded me with a cold, calculating gaze. "I'm Martinez," he growled.
"What do you want?"
I stood my ground, trying to appear confident. "I'm investigating a rape case," I said. "A witness reported seeing a man with a snake tattoo near the crime scene." Martinez snorted. "That's a pretty common tattoo. You think that's enough to pin on me?" I hesitated, unsure how to proceed. Martinez seemed to sense my uncertainty and took a step closer. I pulled out my phone, trying to appear casual.
"Mind if we take your picture, Martinez?"
I asked, trying to sound nonchalant. Martinez's expression darkened, and he took a step closer to me. "What's this about?" he growled, his voice menacing. I held my ground, trying not to show any fear. "Just routine investigation," I said, trying to sound calm. "We need to document everyone we interview." Martinez snorted, but he didn't stop me. I snapped a quick photo of him, making sure to get a clear shot of his face and the snake tattoo on his hand. As soon as I took the picture, Martinez's demeanor changed. He seemed more agitated, his eyes flashing with anger. As soon as I took the picture, I smiled politely and said, "Thanks, Martinez.
That's all I need for now."
I turned to leave, but I could feel Martinez's eyes boring into my back. I quickened my pace, anxious to get out of there as quickly as possible. As I emerged from the warehouse, I took a deep breath of fresh air, feeling a sense of relief wash over me. I had gotten what I needed, and I had gotten out without any trouble. But as I looked down at the photo on my phone, I couldn't shake the feeling that I had just scratched the surface of something much bigger. I decided to head back to my office and examine the photo more closely. As I examined the photo more closely, I noticed something that made my heart skip a beat. The snake tattoo on Martinez's hand didn't quite match the description I had gotten from the witness. The witness had described the tattoo as a snake coiled around the wrist, with a distinctive diamond pattern on its scales. But the tattoo on Martinez's hand was a snake coiled around the forearm, with no diamond pattern. I felt a surge of confusion. Had I been mistaken about Martinez's involvement? I also couldn't shake off the feeling that the threatening messages I received were more than just a coincidence. Why had I received those messages, warning me to drop the case and specifically mentioning Martinez? It seemed like someone was trying to steer me away from the real culprit and towards Martinez instead. I wondered if Martinez was being framed, or if he was involved in a larger conspiracy. The more I thought about it, the more questions I had. I decided to go back to the beginning and re-examine the evidence. Maybe there was something I had missed, something that could help me uncover the truth. I gave the phone number that sent the threatening messages to my friend, a tech-savvy expert who could help me track down the owner. A few hours later, my friend called me back with the results. "Alex, I've got something," my friend said, sounding excited. "The number is registered to a guy named Alexei Petrov." I felt a surge of adrenaline as I realized that this could be the break we needed. "Can you find out more about him?" I asked. My friend nodded. "Already on it. But here's the thing, Petrov's got a record. He's been arrested for assault before." I felt a chill run down my spine. This was getting serious. I laid out the entire case, from the threatening messages to Petrov's connection to the nightclub. The detective listened intently, his expression growing grimmer by the minute. When I finished, he nodded. "We've got enough to bring Petrov in for questioning. Let's get him." I decided to stay at the police station to provide more information and answer any additional questions the detective might have. After that, I would head back to Sophia's place to tell her the news and let her know that the police were closing in on Petrov. As I sat at the police station, filling out reports and answering questions, I couldn't help but feel a sense of relief. We were finally making progress in the case, and justice was within reach. After what felt like an eternity, the police finally arrested Petrov and charged him with Sophia's assault. The evidence we had collected, combined with the police's investigation, was enough to put him behind bars. Sophia was finally able to breathe a sigh of relief, knowing that her attacker was no longer a threat. She thanked me for my help, and I could see the gratitude in her eyes. The case was closed, and justice had been served. I felt a sense of pride and satisfaction, knowing that I had played a part in bringing Petrov to justice.